to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, 12:30 and 1 o'clock on Thursdays during your lunch break on RVN TV in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and where we interview the power networkers of the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. And I have the pleasure and the privilege to be here with Miss Regina, who is the owner and president and founder and all those fun things of Forge Wealth Management.
Yes.
So you got to be here today. You're my second guest of 2020.
I am so excited.
You got your makeup done? It looks really bad. Everything is great. I'm so excited. Okay, so we'll just hang out with us later, guys. We're just having a nice little meeting here. So you and I met through Joe Manzo because he did a video for you. Okay, I saw that video, I think, a few months before you and I had a chance to talk, and I was blown away.
Oh, he was so great to work with.
Oh my God! But in your industry, nobody does that. Nobody makes a video about their journey. Like, that made me trust you 100% more than every Joe, Dick, or Harry that I met that is in a similar industry.
The funny thing about that video is my clients, we obviously put it on our webpage, but our clients all watched it, and some of them came out and said, "Oh, I never knew you were a nurse." I was like, "Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff in my arsenal."
Very eclectic background.
I went from taking care of your, physical health, now I take care of your financial health.
Oh,
so
amazing.
it was a great video. I had great response from it. We had a blast doing it, and Joe is amazing. He does great work.
We're gonna tag Joe in this video because we're just raving about him. But
Absolutely.
he's brilliant. He does a great job with video. So now, what was the purpose of it, and what was the intention behind it?
So the intention was to have a foundation video, a founder's video for the business, because I've been in my field for over 20 years, but I've only had my own business individually for 4. So this was a way to market and brand ourselves a little bit more than we had, and to let people know a little bit more about myself, because when I'm working with people, it's very private information. And it's very sensitive, the things I know. And I have to, keep it, you have to keep it to the vest. Yeah. But before someone can tell you things about themselves, they have to know, and trust you, and you can't just do that in one meeting. So before they come in, they get a feel for me and what I do and where I've been and how I've done things by just watching that video.
Wow. Wow. And it's like, very much to your point, they have to know, like, and trust you, which is the foundation of any good networking activity. But that was your medium to showcase to the world that you're a subject matter expert in your field by giving, and not just saying that, oh, I do this X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, this is who I am. Here's how we can work together, because now you're attracting the right kind of strategic partner, the right kind of client, and the right kind of attention that works best for your industry.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant. So when somebody calls you, what problem are they typically having?
People call me for a variety of reasons. They will... sometimes it's someone going through a divorce, and usually it's a woman, because the man usually has the relationship with the financial advisor, and she needs guidance to work through what the asset split is, how to come out on the other side of it as a individual financial person, and the planning that goes along with that. Other people are trying to build their nest eggs and build towards their retirement, and knowing that they have kids, that the kids want to go to college, from everything in between there, but just building their net worth. And they need someone to help them plan, and somebody to remind them along the way of what their goals are and what they need to do.
Yeah.
Last year someone came to me, and it was in October, and they said it was their first foray with me, and we were going to do a financial plan. And they said, well, I want to retire in January. And I was like, okay, well, close to the age, let's see what you've done. And, the husband was already semi-retired. And it turned out I had to re-navigate them. And I said, well, you could retire in January if you want to live this kind of lifestyle. But if you want to live the lifestyle that you are closer to now, you really need to work a couple more years until you're full retirement age with Social Security, and that would be like 4 more years. She wasn't really happy that I had to tell her that, but I had to deliver it in a very nice way. But a couple weeks later, I got a call from her and said, okay, you know, I realize what you said. I've decided I am going to work longer. I went back to my boss at work and told him, you know, I had to stay, and you know, I do a lot of work and it's very, very stressful. She wound up getting a big raise.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I was like, oh,
Good
put
for
that
her.
on my repertoire.
The case study will get you more
Yes,
money.
we will. No.
No, just kidding. Sorry.
It just happened for her, yeah. But it worked out great because I basically guided her and her husband on, okay, well, here's your task list. Here's what you need to do to prepare to have, you know, what you need for when you do retire, and you know, and she took it to heart.
Wow.
She did everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty cool.
awesome. So now, what can people expect when working with you?
We're very relationship based. So all of our clients are at this point pretty much like family. And we build relationships. A lot of my clients have been with me for 10, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've been in the business for over 20 some years. I started very young. But it is a very relationship-based business. We know everything about the family. We talk about, you know, if my clients come in, we talk about their parents, their kids, and then their kids start having kids. So we know everything that's going on because all those things can impact their financial picture because they may have to take care of the parents or the kids, you know, you have to put them through school and then they have to pay for the weddings.
Yeah.
And then the grandkids come along. Grandkids are really expensive.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
I'm not I am a grandkid, but I have a sister who has a baby, and I'm a first-time aunt. So I am just waiting for my credit card to give me a call with all the gifts I got them. So maybe
But
we
they're
should
so
talk.
cute.
But they're adorable little noodles because
Yes.
they're 3-4 months right now, so they're all over the place. But so I love that, and I think a lot of times when it comes to things that are very sensitive, when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth, when it comes to even managing both in conjunction, it's like taxes, sex, and politics, right? They're very, very, very challenging topics to talk about, but once you are in a comfortable space too, people do open up. So because you work in a heavily saturated market, how do you stand out between, I know that you focus on the relationships, but when it comes to process and logistics, what makes you stand out in a way that delivers those results that you need for your client?
Well, the one thing that's not process driven is the fact that I'm a female.
Yeah.
And it is a very male dominated business, about 85%.
Yeah.
And it really hasn't changed since the entire time I've been in the business. So I bring a different aspect to it. I also bring the aspect to the table that I actually sit there and I listen.
Yeah.
I don't sit there and talk the whole time. Most of my quarterly reviews with my clients are talking about what's going on with them. How's your health? What are you doing? Are you going traveling? How's your, you know?
Are you calling every quarter?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I have clients in different states and we do Zoom meetings. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
So they can expect you going through and listening and being less talking at. Because essentially sometimes, because it's in a male-dominated area, they're not, there's a little bit lack of warmth, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be challenging.
Yeah, and the other thing is I educate my clients along the way because I don't know about you, but we never spoke about finances at our kitchen table growing up.
Nope.
And
You're
there's
Italian, Irish, or Polish, or
Right.
Catholic, you don't talk about things.
Nothing, right?
You're just one big blank slate, soulless person.
Yeah. Eat, hurry up,
Yeah.
get done.
Yeah.
We have to do the dishes.
We gotta do stuff.
But so when people come to me, you know, we're talking about things that they're not used to talking about, and they're not educated. They don't have classes in high school or college about personal finance and what do you need to do. And people talk about saving and investing, but a lot of people don't talk about controlling your debt. Because you can make a lot of money, you can save money, but if the debt is higher, then you're kind of sinking your battleship.
No matter what.
So
what advice would you give people coming in that have, like, let's say, student loans or big mortgages or things like that, a lot of debt? What would you suggest, or some good advice?
I work with a lot of my clients with their kids coming out of college, and I ask them to come to me when they get their student loan repayment package. and the student loan payment package will be over a long period of time. And my conversation with the kids, they're adults now, but they're still kids to me. I mean, it's horrible, right? I talk to them about, okay, you're not used to making money, right? So this is all new to you. You can go out and buy a shiny brand new car and do all these fun things, or you can get ahead of this. And we modify a plan to get those student loans paid off in like 5 years, if they're dedicated to it. Yeah,
right.
and if they're, I have worked with some people who are very interested in doing that, and we create a plan for them, and they just get rid of it. Because then the flip side, I have some friends who went to college and didn't do that, and then they go for a mortgage and they can't afford it because the student loan payment is just as much as the mortgage payment's going to be.
Right.
So they can't do it. So that's one of my biggest things with my adult kids coming out of college and starting life as a professional is, let's attack that college debt.
First and foremost.
Yeah,
Oh, where were
and
you?
also start your 401k right away.
Where were you for 10 years ago? Goodness. So what would you say your networking style is?
Very personable.
Seems like it.
So like with you, I met you, we would, talk and we email, and then I follow up with you on something, right? Yeah. So I do that a lot, and I like to meet people person to person, not just emails, text messages, things like that. There's a girl I've been trying to meet with. We linked up on LinkedIn. We had some connections. It took us 2 months to get together, but we finally had coffee the week before Christmas.
Wow.
And now I know her. Now I know what's important to her and what she's trying to do in her world and her profession. And I try to think of ways, well, what can I do that would help her? How can I champion her in my everyday?
Right.
And I try to put the focus on what her needs are.
Right.
And because it always comes back one way or another, and you build that network and you build those friendships and those professional friendships out stronger when you are there for them.
Amazing. And so when you are nurturing that network, what tips would you give on nurture? So you spent 2 months trying to get in touch with her. So how did it come to fruition? What did you do to make sure that you stayed top of mind?
I kept calling and emailing her.
just not even being aggressive, but just
just very soft, very soft touch.
Soft touch.
Yeah, soft touch. Like, hey, still would love to get to meet you, know about what you're trying to grow, how you're trying to do your business. We're in circles together, we just hadn't met.
Right.
So I just did the soft touch, and then the one scheduled meeting that we had, she had a funeral, so we had to reschedule. I was just like, but we were determined.
Yeah.
And we did it.
Good.
And then, she was great. She did the follow-up email first.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was like...
Because it's mutual respect.
Exactly.
Because you came in not hot, awesome. Came in warm. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. We're going to talk to Miss Regina McCann Hess about her tactical tips and practical takeaways. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write, the ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits.
Welcome back to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, 12:30 on Thursdays during your lunch break on RVN TV. I've had so much coffee, and I'm here with Miss Regina McCann Hess, who is the owner and founder of Forge Wealth Management. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Thank you.
So now that we kind of discussed why you're fantastic and how everyone gets that personal touch from you, what would you say, so as far as networking is concerned, especially because, again, we just talked about how your industry is heavily saturated, and you were a woman in that industry, and you were a kind and wonderful woman in that industry. How does that change where you network?
True. So I don't belong to a country club, and I don't golf. And my son, my oldest is 17, and he said to me, "Mom, why don't you go to the country clubs? All the guys do that." I'm like, "Well, I can't work those circles. I'm not a guy, and then I don't golf, so that's not going to work either."
You could drive the golf cart and get drunk on the way.
Absolutely, I can do that. So I don't do that.
Yeah.
I do look for specific type of networking groups, and it's really hard, but I like to find professional women's networking groups that are people who are out there like me, who've been in the business for a while. They can work at corporations, or they can have their own businesses, but have been around for a little while.
So there's a couple organizations, maybe you've heard of them, that I really like. Elevate is a really good one.
Yes, I've heard of them.
Yeah, fantastic. They're super organized. I think it's a national organization too. Their headquarters is in New York. I went to one of their conferences, it was the Elevate conference, and Valerie Jarrett, who is the Obama's senior advisor.
Oh, wow.
She was the keynote, and I got a chance to interview her. It
Oh,
was
sweet.
Crazy stuff, but that's the kind of caliber that they have.
Yeah, that's
Which, lovely. And they just do it. It was such a great experience. And then the Elevate's really good. I know the Walnut Club is also a part of. It's a little bit more social. It is professional, but it has a social avenue to it. And there's a few others.
Okay.
But in the city, have you ever thought about starting your own mastermind group?
I have,
Yeah.
and I have looked into it with a couple other people, and the other people kind of fizzled out on me.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, I don't want to do this by myself. I need some people to do it with.
Right. So your strategic partners would be a perfect piece to put into that.
Yeah.
What we do with the mastermind group that I'm a part of, we meet once a month, and we have dinner, and we bring it to somebody's office or conference room, and we sit, we crack open our laptops, and it's like, how can we help each other? And just
great.
literally just make those introductions while we're there. But we also know each other's family and their friends.
See?
And so it ends up being a little bit more personable in that way.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it can be challenging again because you are a woman in this industry, all the stereotypical places to go. But I love that you're sticking with the women's groups because we just kind of do it better. When it comes to events,
We do.
We just kind of make things like there's napkins and plates and an area where the bathroom is,
And no line.
And no line.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm mixing up my.
But then you make
I'm
best
mixing up my
friends.
meetings. At my meetings, the financial meetings.
Yeah.
There's a line for the men's room. There's no line for the women's room. The first time ever.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
So are you a Power Match member?
I have gone to a couple of their meetings.
You gotta go.
Yeah, but it was like towards the end of last year, and
Yeah.
they break for the summer, so I was like, let's get to it in the fall, and then the fall came, and I'm like, oh crap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If you know Joe's a Power Match member.
Yeah, that's probably how I wound up there. Yeah.
I'm a Power Match member, and so what Sarah does is she matches you up with like-minded individuals, but you can also do virtual calls as well. I know you like the in-person, so she'll meet with two other strategic partners, and you'll sit, but it's a really good work. Anyway, so what do you find interesting about how people stereotypically think of what it is that you do? And I'm throwing these curveball questions at it because I think it's interesting to see how each individual handles it, because it's stupid, but it's stereotypical. It's like being a woman. We got our own stereotypes. Being a man, you got your own stereotypes. Like, how have you found that to be different?
I think it's still funny that people hear what I do and hear my title and they say, "Oh, well, what's the hot stock?" Still,
What is the hot stock?
what's the hot stock tip? Like,
Oh,
like
get
30
outta
years
here.
ago.
Whatever, dude.
That's what we would do, right? 30 years ago, before I was even in the industry.
Wow.
But really, people don't understand, like, what I do is work with people.
Yeah.
I help them. I hold their hand.
Yeah.
I walk them through life on the financial side.
Yeah.
And it's not just, this is, I picked your portfolio and we're done. It's constantly maintaining. It's meeting with them and saying, "Hey, you're on track," or "Oh, you spent a little too much money this year because we keep track of that. Here's the plan." So like basically keeping them on target, keeping them on plan, and constantly checking in and making sure they're okay and knowing about them as people, as family, and the portfolio is almost secondary sometimes because you're doing so many other things for the family that is more important to them sometimes than, oh, what stock is in my portfolio. Now obviously it's important, but it's not the first thing that comes to their mind.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. I think with I mean, we had talked about this earlier in the first segment, but it's so hard to figure out when your emotions are involved, right? When it comes to finances, it's harder to work with somebody who is just, like you said, just going to give you the portfolio and say, "Here, go." You actually walk people through to understand that because you remember what it was like to go through coming out of school, starting a new job, whatever it may be, to do the best activities that breeds the results. So when you're networking with people, what has been your favorite thing to discover about a new client?
What is the favorite thing? That's interesting. That's a good question.
Sorry.
I know, you stumped me.
It just- it was
Everything's
grasping at
different. Like what makes them go in the morning? Like what drives them?
Right.
What's important to them? Because every person, it's different. And it doesn't matter what their career is, married, single, divorced, widowed, retired, whatever. Everyone's drive is different in what makes them go and what's important to them.
Wow.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to guess.
And what's your drive?
My drive is to take care of my family.
Yeah.
We grew up in a very poor situation, and I never want my kids to experience that. My mom had a really tough upbringing, and my goal is to make sure that her retirement years are much better than her younger years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
We live in Phoenixville.
Do you really?
Yeah,
That must have been a long drive to get here today.
It wasn't that bad because I worked from home this morning, so I could skip all the traffic.
Perfect.
And then I just zoomed. It was great.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
like, if traffic were like this every day.
So what do you got coming up in January? What kind of events do you got coming up?
I do a divorce workshop, basically, every second Saturday of the month.
Oh, is it virtual?
No, it's in person.
Oh, nice.
In person.
In Phoenixville?
I actually do it at Ave Downingtown.
Oh, very
the
cool.
Ave apartment buildings, they're great to work with. They host me for that meeting once a month. So yeah, and I have an attorney, a divorce attorney who comes and talks, and I have a divorce coach who comes and talks because if you're dealing with somebody going through a divorce, the financial stuff they have to deal with, the legal stuff is really, really important because you don't want to screw it up. But what a lot of people forget about is the emotional aspect of it, and there's a huge emotional aspect to it. So we always have a divorce coach or a therapist talk to people about, here's how you can help yourself through this process so that you don't forget about you.
That's huge. That's huge. And especially with people kind of going through, because the ups and downs of any relationship, it's nice to have you're hitting on all of those three things instead of trying to get a referral from this person and that person, then interviewing, and then it just becomes this whole big thing.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so in addition to you working with clients one-on-one and to these webinars, what else are you doing in 2020?
Well, all right, I'm starting a blog.
Oh, you
Yes,
really?
I am.
Oh,
I've been
great.
putting it off and putting it off, and finally I have to do it. And I've been slowly gearing up our social media.
Nice.
And we just started posting every day, but like little things like Monday motivation, Thankful Thursday, things like that. And then we're gonna weave in some financial things. But I'm gonna start some videos, some financial videos, and I'm also looking to interview on video women, professional women,
Nice.
and how they balance work, play, and life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So bunch of mothers coming in being like,
Yeah,
this is how it's done?
Yep.
All of
Yeah.
these things?
Yeah,
You
because
got
what I
postings?
did was I realized, and I wasn't trying to do this, but I looked at my top 10 clients. 8 out of 10 of them, women.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even try. I didn't even try to do this, but obviously, it worked out well because they're great people, and I love my men too. But it's just like, well, this is a natural
It's easy.
niche.
Yeah.
So I figured, let me start talking to women who are professionals and have been doing this for years, and how they got to where they are and how they're being successful at what they do.
You're doing videos on that?
I am.
Are you doing them with Sheldon?
I'm probably going to be doing it with Sheldon. Yeah. She and
Anybody
I
listening?
she and I have been talking about
That's
it. So yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be so great.
Yeah. So
But
hopefully it works.
I love the balance that you have between the work-life balance, how do they do it, and it's tactical, because a lot of times you get shows that are just like so high level, like this is how life works and this is what the life coach says.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, too much. And now you are very much a practical and tactical avenue.
Right, because if I start talking to you, and I do try to educate my clients along the way,
Yeah.
but I can always tell when their eyes are about to roll in the back of their heads because my content is dry.
Yeah.
It's this is what it is.
black and white.
There's no sugarcoating. I mean, I do sugarcoat things sometimes, but it's all on how you deliver news sometimes. But it's boring to a lot of people. I love it.
Yeah.
And most
That's what you
people
want in somebody who's doing what you're doing.
I
is you want
enjoy
to-
it.
Yeah.
But most people are like, oh, really? Do you have to? Yes, I do. I do have to teach you.
Oh my gosh. All right, so your top 3 tips real quick of being a power networker, what would they be?
1, don't stay with the same people the entire networking thing.
Brilliant.
Focus on 2 or 3 people, getting to know 2 or 3 people and talking to them and having them tell you their story.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Follow up.
Ha ha ha.
Follow up.
How many times do you think? Enough.
Enough, but you don't be up their butt.
Yeah.
But send an email the next day. Because usually they're at night. Send an email the next morning. Just say, hey, it was great to meet you last night. I loved hearing your story. Would you like to grab coffee sometime?
Right.
And then wait a week or so and try it again.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We're done. I'm sorry. Oh, do me a favor, looking at this camera and tell people how they can find you.
You can find me on my website, forgewealth.com. I am also on Facebook at Forge Wealth Management and Twitter at Forge Wealth.
Oh my goodness, I just got a Twitter. I'm learning how to tweet.
Ooh, yes, it is
Doing those
definitely
things.
different.
I have everything else, but I was like, Twitter's like scary.
It's a little. I just started myself
Did
about
you?
a month or 2 ago, so we can
Follow each other, share
learn
stuff.
together.
Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, 12:30 and 1 o'clock on Thursdays during your lunch break on RVN TV. If you'd like to be a guest, please email me at ashley@ashley.assists.com, your personal networking concierge, and we'll get you on the show and hang out with me. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.